4 minutes. That way I don't start any 7-minute monologues after the alarm goes off. And it will go off at the worst possible moment you can imagine. My name is Tim Mooney, and the idea for this show came to me about 5 years ago when I was touring around the country with my one-man show, Moliere Than Thou. And after a particularly fun performance, somebody came up to me and said, "Hey, you know, you really ought to submit your resume to the local Shakespeare Festival, because I understand they're still looking for their Macbeth. Angels and ministers of grace defend us." And it struck me at the time, because nobody ever looked at me before and said, "Hey, there's our Macbeth." Angels and ministers of grace defend us. You can say that too, by the way. Angels and ministers of grace defend us. It's a line from Hamlet, but it wards off all the evil spirits that come with the word Macbeth.
Angels and ministers of grace defend us.
Perfect. So there I am, and realizing that I had now morphed from being the dweeby undergrad theater major that I had always imagined myself to be, into being a dweeby middle-aged man. And suddenly I was available for all kinds of new roles that I hadn't imagined before. And I thought about all those great classical Shakespearean roles that I would love to take on. And as I thought about this, I thought, well, I could turn my performance tour into an audition tour, and I could go around all the great Shakespeare festivals and audition for all these great roles. And wouldn't it be cool if no matter what play they were doing, I had a monologue from that play available to do, so that I could walk in and say, "What, you're doing Cymbeline and Pericles and Henry VI, Part 5? Great, let me do those pieces for you." And as I started memorizing, and as I memorized, I started thinking, the idea for the audition tour kind of fell by the wayside, as many of my harebrained schemes often do, and I started thinking of this instead as a parlor game, or as a workshop, or as a book, or as a one-man show, since that's what I do. And as I thought about it as a one-man show, I started wondering what possible order could I put these monologues in to make some kind of a sense out of them. I could put them in chronological order, in the order that the events actually first happened in time. Or I could put them chronologically in the order that Shakespeare wrote them. Or I could put them in the order within which they happen in their relative plays, the Act 1 monologues through the Act 5 monologues. Or I'd say, what if I just put it to a vote, and everybody could vote on their favorite Shakespeare plays, and I would do the ones that were the most popular, which might make the Democrats happy. Or perhaps I could treat it like a rock concert, and people could call out their favorites, and I would do the requests of the people who shout the loudest, which might make the Republicans happy. But ultimately I decided, screw it, I'm going to do it entirely at random. So, in this bingo cage are 45 ping pong balls representing all 38 of Shakespeare's plays and 7 of his sonnets. And whatever ball comes out the chute, that sounds disgusting, but it's really not. That's the monologue that I will perform. Now, since this precludes any possibility of a narrative thread to carry us through the evening, what we are going to do is make a game out of it. And rather than playing a game of bingo, what you have in your hands tonight are cards for a game of Iago. Each card being unique from every other card that's there, and we'll give you a little light so that you can see your cards in front of you. And as we play the game, you can check off the monologues that I do that you have on your card, and the first person to get 4 in a row, either across or up and down or on a diagonal, who calls out Iago, is going to get this amazing Moliere Than Thou t-shirt. And for those of you who don't win one, there are more available for sale after the show. And now, in order to expedite this and get in as many monologues as we possibly can, I am going to rather arbitrarily limit myself to a one-sentence introduction to each of these plays. It may be a long, elaborate one-sentence introduction with parenthetical remarks, but it will be one sentence, if only to reveal just how accessible these plays are, as opposed to their reputation, which is that they are somehow distant or difficult. How is it that they got that reputation? Ms. Technician, can you show us? Oh, yes. There it is. Now, as we play along, we're going to have little snippets of dialogue come up here, and every once in a while you'll see one with this kind of yellow border around it. That is your opportunity to read a line back at me, or shout a line back at me, as the case may be. If you can read it from where you're sitting, if you can't, just shout out whatever sounds appropriate to you at the time. And then I'll have something to respond to. And so, I think that's, oh yes, there are two exceptions to all of these rules that I've just laid on you. One being that I'm going to retain veto power for any particular monologue that might come out just on the off chance that I get two screamy, shouty monologues like right in a row, or if we start to get like all history plays or all sonnets or something like that.
You still get to mark them off, though?
You still get to mark them off, yes. You still get credit for them, but I can choose whether or not I'm actually going to do them.
Okay.
And then the other thing is, we can also circumvent this if anyone cares to bribe me. So, without any further much ado, I am going to spin my